You can see that over there. I'm just going to make a primer for that. It's a back surfacer, and use it quite often. Now, being that I don't want it to fill in grain, we are going to, we're just going to thin it out a little bit more than what I typically do, just so that my skins will be thinner. And that's kind of what I want. When I spray this on, I want it to more or less act like a top coat. I want it to be a thin membrane. I'm going to let it dry, like flash off, and then I'll hit it again. And that will make it kind of like a one heavier skin. And so within that, I'll be sanding it with a sanding sponge, fine. Then I'll apply my clear coat on top of that. All right, so I'm just going to grab my stir stick. Take a look ahead. Yeah, you can see what I'm doing. Good. Okay. Now when I stir small circle, and then I go bigger, right? And then sometimes I even go take this around, because this hitting that edge, it's hitting that back edge, I'm getting the product that's jammed into the corner. Okay, so I just do that rotation, do little small circles, and I just take that small circles into rotation. Okay, this is just the beginning, just to get everything else, just get all the pigments out and all the properties that make up primer. Okay, I'm gonna take out the majority. Okay, I'm just gonna finish that off. Okay. Keep the Certic handy. I don't need to make a lot. I think 500 mils will be plenty for both tops, because it mixes up to almost a liter. Like, I know I'm talking almost 50% thinners, but it is up there in the thinners area to like 35-40%, but I don't want to break it down too much more than that. Okay, so I'm just going to put 500 in. Again, I put it up to the bottom of the meniscus. Let me grab my... No, I tackled this right away. Messy job. I'm just using an old rag. It's just to scoop most of the stuff in there. Just make sure my rag's not something of contamination or anything like that. This is just primer, but I just want to ensure everything will be going to be good. So that's 500 there. Okay, I'll just put my lid right on. Okay, so this is 12% catalyst. Put 500 in, so I'll just grab my small glass. Okay, right now it's just on the top of the meniscus, so just a little bit more. You have to be quite accurate when it comes to your catalyst. But your catalyst should be quite accurate, very accurate. I'm usually pretty religious when it comes to my lacquer. This is my thinners. And pick up my stir stick. Okay, so we have catalyst in there. This is my 30%. So I'm just going to put that in there. I think that's going to be good to start with. So yeah, again, I'm doing small circles on the outside. And then I'll even change position of my stir stick. Okay. And that's just the beginning. And then I do bigger ones. And then do smaller ones. And then big ones again. Okay, so we do want it kind of on the running side for what I want to achieve. And I still want to create a barrier there and make it all consistent in color for my top coat. Okay, so this is pretty much mixed. Now I'm going to show you what I do. Now I explain first. When I do this the full spin on my stirring, I'm going to take my stick out. When I pull up my stick, it should start dripping about 5 to 6 seconds later, and it should be, this fluid should be at a rotation, slowed down to a rotation, a slow, consistent rotation at around 10 seconds. And if it's not, then I add more thinners. That's just to get the, that's for, we are stopping before then, so it's about 3 seconds off still. I'm just going to add, I'll add another 50. Keep in mind, it's at this viscosity now. Now it's going to take less fluid, less thinners. We don't want to just mathematically add a whole bunch, like in the sense of percentage, because as you thin it, it disperses its properties more. It breaks it down a little bit more. And we don't want to lose the properties of what primer does, per se. But we want it to lay solid color, lay flat, lay nice, and it's a good build, good color. Okay, now I'm just going to add my 50 in there. And this will make it a little thinner. And when that happens, say I just stir it all the way around, just make sure I go forward. About 8,000, so you gained a second. So we need to add a little bit more. And trust me when I say that we're doing this for a good purpose, especially when how it comes out of our gun and how it lies onto the oak, onto the existing finish on the outside, at the end result of the skin that it's going to leave behind for me to sand. And I want it nice and smooth, like if it was almost like a top coat, because then there's very little sanding for me to do. It's a scratch the surface up for adhesion and apply your final coats for clear. Just another 50 there. And you can always add more. Once you go over, then you have to actually mix more primer, more catalyst, and it's just a pain in the butt when you do that. Looking quite good. About 9. Okay, so we're almost there. This is like how I do my top coating, to be honest with you. So this will be 150 extra. Viscosity is very important when it comes to how your products lay out and how they behave. And I found this is what I'm doing right now is the sweet spot. Actually, this is primer. This is a little bit thicker than I usually have it. I usually put my about 35%. And 30% actually when it comes to primers. And then for clears, it's around 35. And again, it depends if I'm spraying horizontally or vertically. Indoors, how hot it is, and how cold it is. So the variables are all over the place. That's why I want to teach behavior. Okay, this is beautiful.